Born on September 14, 1983, in London, Amy Winehouse grew up in a family where music was a true passion. Her father was an amateur musician and a jazz fan, who inspired her love for music. At a young age, she began to take an interest in the guitar, but when she was 9, her parents divorced, leaving a deep scar in her life. She spent the rest of her childhood with her grandmother Cynthia, a cabaret singer who greatly inspired her. Amy was so inspired that she had Cynthia's name tattooed on her body. Seeing her love for writing poems, her grandmother enrolled her in singing lessons, and Amy also began experimenting with rap. At the age of 10, she created a band called Sweet and Soul with a friend. She later joined a singing school at 12, but her rebellious nature got her expelled. It was around that time that she got her famous piercing. She continued her studies in various schools before permanently dropping out at 16. A jazz fan in an era dominated by pop and rap in the late 1990s, she wasn't interested in popular music genres and spent her evenings in jazz bars. She was eventually hired as a singer at the After Dark bar after an impressive performance, during which she had asked the owner if she could get on stage. With her best friend at the time, she sent a demo tape to Highland Records and signed with them in 2002. A year later, she released her first album, Frank, where she explored personal themes such as her father and her ex-boyfriend. The album was a great success, and Amy moved to Camden, the musician's district, a true paradise for her. She took advantage of this time to relax, and one night at the Holly House, she met Blake, with whom she began a relationship, even going as far as tattooing his name on her body. Unfortunately, Blake was a drug addict and introduced her to drugs. 6 months later, Blake ended their relationship and went back to his ex, leaving Amy heartbroken. She fell into depression and drowned her sorrow in alcohol for months. From that suffering came inspiration for new songs, and little by little, Amy got back on her feet. In 2006, her new album Back to Black achieved international success. Blake, surprised by her newfound fame, decided to come back into Amy's life, and they got married. However, Blake still hadn't given up drugs and was facing financial problems. He took advantage of Amy. This toxic relationship slowly destroyed Amy's life. She spent her time secretly taking drugs with Blake. At the height of her career, drugs began to tarnish her reputation among her colleagues and the public, forcing her to cancel several tours. She suffered her first overdose, nearly dying. After leaving the hospital, they continued using drugs in secret while pretending to the paparazzi that they had overcome their addiction. The following years were marked by scandal. Blake was involved in violent incidents in bars, which led to his imprisonment in 2008. The record label then decided to suspend Amy's career until she resolved her personal issues. That decision paid off. After several months, Amy gave up drugs, and her career restarted. She was nominated for the Grammy Awards and won 5 awards in one night. However, despite her incredible journey, Amy remained unhappy, haunted by Blake and harassed by the press. Blake was released from prison in 2009 and filed for divorce, but their romantic relationship continued. Amy relapsed into drug use. Her worried entourage encouraged her to seek help. She replaced her drug addiction with another equally harmful one, alcohol. She gave her last concert in Belgrade, a disaster during which she was unable to sing properly. After this incident, she stopped drinking for 3 weeks. Unfortunately, her depression persisted, and she fell back into alcohol. Her body, already weakened by drugs, stress, and bulimia, could no longer bear her lifestyle. Amy Winehouse took her last breath at the age of 27.